Hey everyone, Mr. BJ here. I actually got locked up in a mental institution for doing a really serious crime. Yeah, I know. And then I hear they're gonna do some experimental thing on me to kind of deter me from violence and stuff. So while I wait for that to happen, let's review A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. So let's get right into the video. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be reviewing A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. So, Clockwork Orange is another book in, I guess, a line of books that I've been reading recently, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and most recently The Bell Jar, kind of a mental health thing with a mental asylum and stuff, and kind of treatments that aren't exactly all that good. So, yeah, of course, this is by Anthony Burgess. It was published in 1962, and it became that really famous Stanley Kubrick movie in 1971, which I'm sure you all have seen. I have not yet, but that's because I'm lame, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, Clockwork Orange is just very simple. It's about violence and how maybe we can try to control that violence. But anyway, yeah, let's get into the actual summary of this thing and figure out what A Clockwork Orange is really about. So, A Clockwork Orange takes place in a very dystopian future England, so sort of like 1984 in a way. And our narrator is this guy named Alex, and he's about, say, 15 years old. And so, in this very dystopian future England, the government is basically just like non existent, or what does, it's just not very good. And so, crimes run the streets. And so, our main guy, Alex, he is the leader of a crime gang, and his gang consists of three other dudes: Georgie, Dim, and Pete. And so they're kind of one of the top dogs, I guess you could say, of the gang world. It's like they do a lot of successful things. They beat people up, they rob stores, they steal cars, and then they just cause all kinds of mayhem and what have you. So one night after getting very drunk at a bar, they decide to do some stuff. So they rob a store, they steal a car, and then they do some other things. And then eventually they end up at this cottage out in like the middle of the woods or something, where they tie up this one dude and attempt to I'm gonna say violate his wife. I don't want to like say the actual word, but they violate his wife, which is very bad, and so that's not good. So anyway, they escape and stuff, but later in the night they decide to do one last hit for the night, where they were going to try to rob this old lady's house. So Alex goes in, knocks out the old lady, and as the police show up, his well, you could say his gang kind of sells him out, knocks him out, and then he gets arrested while they escape. So Alex is then brought to a mental institution where, after he severely beats up a guy or possibly even kills this guy, the mental institution will try a new experimental drug thing on him called the Ludovico experiment or something like that. And basically what this is that they will tie him to a chair, drug him, and then show him various videos of violence happening. So like say people getting shot and murdered, people just getting beat up, World War II videos. That's like the main thing right there. And they'll also play classical music in there. And the whole point is to try and make him like physically sick whenever he hears classical music or sees that violent imagery and violating imagery like what they did to that poor man's wife. So anyway, then he undergoes it. I'm sure you know the scene. It's the like eyes are being forced open scene from the movie. At least I think that's what it is. And so basically, Alex just sees a series of like World War II videos and various videos of like violence and crime and stuff that's really horrific to watch. And as the classical music plays, he starts to get really sick, like really sick. And so after that, he gets really sick, and then because he is cured, he gets re-released back into society. So basically, what happens is that he sees a guy being mugged, and he gets mugged himself. But the police officers, one of them is actually Dim. Yeah, yeah. Remember his buddy Dim from the gang? Well, Dim is like a corrupt cop now, and so yeah. So anyway, Alex returns to the house of the man whose wife he violated in hopes of like escaping or whatever. And so the man doesn't seem to recognize him, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, sure." But what the man's actually planning is to leave him trapped in a room with classical music so that he might die or whatever. So, sensing that or sensing that he really has no way out of this, Alex tries to jump out of the window and, self destruct himself. But that doesn't work. And yeah, that doesn't work very well. But anyway, so a while later, like 3 or so years later, Alex is back at the bar. He hasn't really tried anything in the last 3 years. And then he sees his old friend Pete come by with a wife. And keep in mind, Pete is like 20, and then Alex is like 18 at this point. So Alex sees what a nice life Pete has now that he's out of the gang and stuff. And so Alex thinks that maybe he should start living a life like that for himself. And that is how A Clockwork Orange ends. All right, so before I get into like the main my thoughts part of this thing, I just kind of want to mention this little fun fact I found out about the book. But the original book, when it was published in England, it had all 21 chapters, so that nice chapter was the end. But apparently, when it was published in the US, that chapter was excluded for whatever reason. And so the novel in the US originated with the more bad ending that I guess people are used to. And so when Stanley Kubrick adapted the movie in the 70s, he didn't read the full British version, so he adapted the American version, which is why the ending to the movie was so dark, from what I've heard. So yeah, either way, the edition that I got to read was, I guess, the restored American edition or something. I don't know. Maybe it is the British version, but I don't know. I just found it and it had the full restored version. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Depending on when you got the book or what edition it is, I guess, it may or may not have a different ending, or I guess a cut-off ending, if you will. But anyway, so yeah, I just thought that was interesting. And anyway, A Clockwork Orange is just kind of interesting in itself. It's very much a look at violence in society and how maybe we need to stop being so violent all the time. Because, like, yeah. Also, you're probably wondering what the Clockwork Orange thing means. Well, basically, an orange is a natural thing. It's a fruit. It's very natural. And so Alex, I guess you could say, is like a clockwork orange because, I don't know, it has something to do with like a machine inside of it. It's like, it's real, but it's not real. So it's like a clockwork orange. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. If I'm not, there are many other videos that could explain it much better than I could, as well as my summary. So what are you going to do? But anyway, overall, I thought A Clockwork Orange was just a very well-written book. I think, from what I heard, it was written in like both Cockney English and like a form of Russian, which is why there's some weird words. Like Alex calls his friends his droogs, because I guess that's like a word for friend or something in Russia, supposedly. But anyway, so yeah, the book is just over 200 pages, and it is very easy to get through. It's like, I will admit, it was a little hard for me to follow it, but that's just because of how my brain works and stuff. But like, it's very easy to get into. I think for the most part, it's very easy to follow. And so if you've read other books that I've reviewed, like The Bell Jar or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, A Clockwork Orange is along the same lines of that. Mental institution, mistreated patients, mental illness awareness stuff. So yeah, it has all that stuff going for it, and I think it's just a very good book overall. I don't think it's quite as good as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but it certainly stands on its own just as a really good book in itself. And yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about A Clockwork Orange. It's just a very fun book, and it also brings up a lot of stuff that we need to discuss, like violence and gangs and other things that really need to be addressed in modern day society. And keep in mind, this was released in the 60s, takes place in a dystopian future, but still applies to today. So that's unfortunately a lot of books nowadays that are very relevant to today. But anyway, yeah, I love A Clockwork Orange. Please go read it if you have not. It is fantastic. And also, watch the movie if you have not. I want to watch the movie as well, but if you haven't seen it, please go watch it as well. But yeah, anyway, go read A Clockwork Orange. It is a great little story. But that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. As I said, this mental institution is kind of taking a while. I actually just went through the procedure, so that should, I guess, be taking effect any time now. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I am still on the road to 300 subscribers, so please help me get there. I would be so grateful. But yeah, that is it from me. That is the end of the video. I've been Mr. BG, and this has been BG's Books. And remember, oh no, classical music. Oh.